There we
Okay,
go.
there we go. There we go.
Good evening. How
Hi.
are you?
Look at you. You guys look great.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. All smiles and everything, despite all hell coming down on your end.
Yeah.
We're kind of blessed because it didn't really. We feel winds and rain, but not as much as folks in
Yeah.
Tampa. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we're in Florida, as far as Florida go, how far up are you?
We're about maybe 5 hours from Tampa
All right.
or
So
south.
you're south. Yeah. So yeah, I understood from Flair, who put me in contact with you that yeah, if you lower down, you're still going to experience flooding and rain, winds, and those sorts of things, but you're not at the center of it all. Now, thank you for making the time chatting to me. Please take a minute and introduce yourself to the Worship audience.
Okay, so I'm Joanne Bowie Alvarez from South Africa and now living in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
Done, that's it.
And
I don't know what you want to know. I'm currently a police service technician at Florida International University. I'm working towards becoming a sworn police officer. That's my goal in the
yeah.
future. Yeah, just living life and, you know,
Oh, that's
Really
amazing.
yeah.
And who's the handsome gentleman next to you? Who are you?
How's it going? My name is Rafael Alvarez. I am naturally born in Guatemala, but I've spent most of my life in Chicago. In 2017, I came down to Miami to
Yeah.
service as a fleet technician for a small company, and then ended up at Florida International University. I run the fleet operation there. Anything that has engines on wheels, we take care of. And
Wow.
what, about 50 years old this year, which is a milestone for me.
Did you say 50? Apologies, you broke up for a second.
50, 50, the big 50.
Big 50. Wow, you're a whole 10 years older than I am. I'm 41 now. A day after I reached 40, my back started hurting. So I thought, well, it's gotta be the age, yeah. Well, thank you for joining me. It's a sort of an impromptu chat because normally I'll be at home in a studio with a fire burning in the background and everything. This is also a studio of sorts, but it's at my work, my normal day work. So normally things would be a bit more clear. I'm just having this chat quickly on my Mac because there's a few things I would like to get through. And I think from a South African point of view, now I'm in Melbourne in Australia, also from South Africa. Um, People, especially the South African community, don't really understand or know what guys over there are actually going through. We get it from the news and we sort of picture, put together a whole story from different people's YouTube point of views and those sorts of things. But we want to hear it from a South African point of view. Do you want to tell us a bit on what is it like and what sort of safety measures have you guys put in place just to make sure that you guys don't experience some of that flooding?
Well, for us, we live in a high rise. So I guess that's one of the benefits of not having a house here. You don't have to prepare as much, but you still have to prepare. We are on the water. We live by a marina. So when you look out of our balcony, there's water. So it's kind of scary once the winds start picking up and the water
Yeah.
does actually get into our apartments and we're on the 17th floor. But as far as preparing, I would say we just, we got to make sure we have non-perishable food items, flashlights in case of the power going out, water in case the water doesn't work, just having maybe an evacuation plan. What would you say?
Yeah,
as
we
far
do
as-
have, as you mentioned, we have a balcony, so we have to make sure that all our furniture that we have outside, it comes inside just so it won't blow away. We cover our windows because even though we're up here, the water still comes in, so we have to cover our windows at the bottom, make sure that the water doesn't come in. And primarily, I think what's taking us most of our time because the storm cut us half of the middle of the week, so most of my time was at work trying to prepare for the storm. So I had really little time to prepare here at home because our
Yeah.
work took a lot of time
And you
from
just
us.
had a massive storm come through there already. And what I understand is that Helene changed direction last minute. They didn't inspect it or expect it to go up north towards North Carolina. Now my business partner lives in North Carolina and in Spruce Pines, and their whole town is flooded, and they've lost their roads, and it's like the amount of damage is just mind blowing. Are you guys concerned that this storm might change direction and come maybe a bit more south? How reliable is the predictions that the Meteorology Bureau is making?
Well, being that we're Wednesday night going into right now, it'll be 7:15. The storm actually is about to hit the Sarasota area. So at this point, we know it's going to hit land between now and 8 o'clock. So as far as it shifting this way, it's not a possibility. I mean, anything's possible, correct? But we will get the winds and the flooding. That's what we'll get from this.
All right. Well, that's good news. Sorry, for a second there, someone almost entered the room. Right. Well, that is good to hear, and I'm glad that you guys are safe, and you've at least managed to do some preparation just in case things do get a bit out of hand. Because as what we understand from the news on our end, that this is the biggest storm of the century. I have, however, kept an eye on it because I've got so many friends in Florida. Flair is a good friend of mine. I've got friends in Sarasota. Is that where you said it's also hitting? Yeah, so I've got friends up there. The last time there was a big hurricane, the water came up to their house and they were canoeing in the front and the cul-de-sac that we. So I don't know what's going to happen this time around. So I'll check in with them shortly as well. Now, storm and disaster aside, well, in a sense, you guys are looking to adopt your nieces. Now, I'm for the Ursula audience, I'm making a massive U-turn because there's actually a story behind the story here. And I've watched the YouTube clip that you've sent me from the news, and I'm emotionally quite moved. And I would really like you to take a few minutes and tell the Ursula audience about it so that we can get behind you on that one.
New here at 10 o'clock, a Miami couple is in a race against time to adopt their twin nieces after tragedy struck their family.
The Night Team's Heather Walker investigates this complicated and expensive fight for the family.
Joanne and Rafael Alvarez knew they wanted children, but it has been a struggle.
I've gone for like multiple surgeries, been put on medication, just various things, you know, and it's just not working right now.
They also tried adopting, but eventually decided to give up on their dream of having a family until they got a late-night phone call from Joanne's home country of South Africa.
In February, and it was around like 3 a.m. So I picked up and she's like, oh, your brother, his wife just died, my sister-in-law, and she left behind 2 baby girls and they twins. And I was like, what?
Joanne discovered she had 2-week-old twin nieces, Geraldine and Bianca. They were in foster care because her brother was not able to care for them. But Joanne and Rafael knew they could.
I've always wanted to be a father to girls. That's always been my dream, to have a little girl.
The couple decided to file for custody of the twins, but they discovered getting the babies to South Florida would be difficult.
So now what makes it challenging is that we're fighting this other family to keep my nieces in my family.
Joanne tells 7 Investigates her brother surrendered the girls into foster care after his wife died. Now that the babies are living with a foster family, he can't sign over custody to her.
So unfortunately, we have to go through the exact same process for an international adoption.
And that process is not easy or cheap.
It can range anywhere between $40,000 and $60,000.
Holt's International Adoption Agency agreed to help the Alvarezes, but the family court in South Africa set a tight deadline.
They told us, like, okay, well, you have until May to get all your ducks in a row. That's when panic set in.
At the custody hearing, the court will rule whether the twins can come to South Florida to live or permanently stay with their foster family.
It's a sad situation, but we just got to keep going at this point. But at the end of the day, this is my family. And I don't want my family to be, you know, just ripped apart.
Joanne hopes the judge will let her have the girls so that they can be raised by family. Heather Walker, 7 News.
Joanne and Rafael have set up a GoFundMe to help raise the money for adoption. You can find a link on our website, WSVN.com.
Okay, so to backtrack, I'm one of 6 adopted children myself. My mom fostered over 48 children over the years, and she had a nursery school for 36 years. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2019 of cancer. She was 83 years old, but her love for children just rubbed off on me since I was a little girl with all the foster kids. And so, we've been trying to have our own family, and for some reason it's not working out. We tried to adopt through foster care in Florida. We started the classes because we were like, well, if we can't get pregnant, there's a lot of children that need homes. Let's see if we can get a child. It would have possibly been a teenager. So we did the application. We started the classes, and then last minute they canceled because there wasn't enough people to do the classes. So they had to cancel the classes. At that point, we were just like, let's try fertility one more time. So I went for surgeries, and again, very unsuccessful. So we decided to take a bit of a break. It must have been like a few months of a break, right? It's maybe 3 or 4 months of a break. And then one day at 3:00 in the morning, American time, I get a call from my sister in South Africa. She lives in Cape Town. And she told me that my sister-in-law had just passed away, leaving behind 2-week-old twin babies. At the time, they were still in hospital. She didn't actually know that she was pregnant at the time until she gave birth. My brother and my sister-in-law lived in Kimberley, and they had the baby in the caravan, basically, where they were living. So after the first one came out, they thought it was just one, and they named the baby. And then a second one came out, and because of their living conditions and just how hard things are in South Africa, and my brother's blind, and Kimberley is not, there's not a lot of work in Kimberley, so my brother, they were struggling, and so the social workers took the babies and placed them in foster care. So so my mother died. They were born the end of January 31st, and the mother died February 27th. So she died of a blood clot in her lung. And my sister was like, well, we know you've been trying to have children. Why didn't you adopt your nieces? It's family. You want to keep them in the family. And so that's when everything kind of...
We did not have no idea what we were getting ourselves into because of the other paperwork involved, immigration, adoption, and it's just immense the amount of work and paperwork she had to mainly get.
I'm
assuming that it's also very expensive.
Very expensive. So, when we started, we had no idea what to do. We called the social worker that placed the children in foster care, and they said, okay, well, you have to get your social worker to contact us because we're not going to give you any information. And I was like, okay, well, that doesn't help. What do I do, Especially being in America, I don't really know how to navigate this whole situation. All I knew is that it was crucial for me to get my family and keep them together. So from there, it took a lot of time. We had to get a social worker. We had to do a home study. All of this cost money. We were blessed enough to raise money on GoFundMe, which got us up to the point where we are now. But now we're stuck. So
and is that GoFundMe page still running? Can we endorse that in any sense on the channel to see if we can get you some more support?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I've signed with one of the adoption agencies that is like basically they give you grants. We have applied for grants, but unfortunately we haven't been selected yet because there's so many people that are trying to apply for grants, and only so many applications can make it every month. Our application didn't make the cut of last month, but however, they did allow us to open up a fundraising page with them, and they will match 10%, as well as people can write it off for their taxes. I'm not sure how it works in different countries, but in America, they can write it as a tax. What do you call it?
Maximize Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
In Australia, they also got similar. They maximize everything on tax and so forth. Your story is near to my heart. I know Kimberley. I've lived there for a while. I know Cape Town because I'm originally from Cape Town, so I do understand how things are tough, especially in Kimberley area. And it's sad to hear in what sort of conditions they had to be born into. Grateful in the sense that they got to be placed in foster care. The nature of the foster care that they were placed in, however, do you know if they're well taken care of at the moment? Is that concerning?
That's
Well,
another thing that we're battling as well because we had to
Mm.
hire a lawyer in South Africa because they wouldn't give us any information from the
Mm.
children. They've been taken to the doctor, are they being fed, are they in good condition or good health?
Yeah,
None. With the lawyer that we got, he's been pushing really hard to be able to get some information from the girls.
yeah.
yeah.
I'm hoping and praying that you guys are going to get the goals. Is it two goals? If I'm
So right now, we've been fighting for them since they were 2 weeks old, and they're about to be 8 months coming
oh
up.
yeah
So
yeah.
yeah.
Especially with look, I've got two daughters. I've got a son as well, but my two daughters, I wouldn't want to raise them in South Africa. Not at all. My wife actually works. She's what they call here a child protection practitioner. In South Africa, she's a social worker. She does that's what she does for a living here. So I do know a lot about it. She comes home and at times she's very emotional and it's hard work and it's really taxing on one's emotions because a lot of times you're trying to do the best thing and children are being put from one foster home to the other and it's messy and at one stage she was yeah, it's obviously it works confidential, but I'll share this bit, and then if I'm not allowed to put it on the channel, I'll take it out. But she was walking up to this house, and the little girl looked up to her and asked her, "Is this my forever home?" And my wife had to tell her, "I'm sorry, it's only for 2 weeks." So, and it's important, in my opinion, that the world knows this. They're taking it for granted. They don't know the struggle these children are facing. A lot of them are too young to even comprehend what they are actually going through. I'm adopted. I was adopted when I was 8 years old, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Ever happened to me. I've loved my stepfather to bits until the day that he passed. I mourned him. Yeah, it was tough because I was in Australia. We were struggling with bushfires at the time. The sky was basically orange for months. And 2 months after that, we were hit with the longest lockdown in the world. Australia and Victoria had 9 month lockdown. We weren't allowed to go 5 kilometers from our house and stuff. But that aside, I couldn't go for a funeral and everything. So it's anything in related to what you are going through is really it's dear to me. And from Oshia's side, we'll do our very best to yeah, to shed some light on what's going on and get people's support behind you. We've got a massive following, not on the app alone. The app alone's a few thousand, but across Facebook, we are on so many groups. I reckon it's up to 2 million people, and we want to make sure that as much of them as possible watches this video and yeah, give their support if they can.
Thank you
Now,
very much.
Yeah.
no, we will do the best we can, and I'll thanks Fleer for bringing it under my attention. I do love a good chat and a good interview, but it's only as good as the meaning behind it. So there's lots of greater good that can come from this, and that's what I'm hoping and praying for. And I'm sorry you're struggling with having children of your own. Look, I look at it this way. If it's God's will, it'll happen. It might be His will that you save these two babies from where they are now. So
Right.
I'll impeach on you. Don't stop fighting for them. And yeah, like I said, we'll see what we can do. Now, on a positive note, and is there any outgoing thoughts you would like to leave with the Ursha audience? Any words of encouragement for people struggling with the same things out there? Yeah, where they feel like they're helpless and they can't give the necessary aid or support for family back home.
What would you say? Because you have family in different countries too.
I do too, but I think the main question would be like when we were handed the situation, we were like in the dark, not even had a candle to light. So Joanne pretty much had to do a lot of research. And I even told her, like, once we get through all this, maybe you can help other folks that are trying to do an adoption, whether it's domestic or international. She can pretty much help people take the necessary steps to even initiate an adoption if they're planning to do one.
Yeah. There's a statistic that says 80% of people that apply for an adoption drop out because it gets too expensive and it gets too overwhelming. And I will be honest, like I'm actually at the point where I haven't cried so much.
Yeah.
I felt so overwhelmed because there's days where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like we're halfway and I can't, I mean, people have been great with the donations and the prayers and people have been so kind. We don't even know.
We don't even know.
But some things, it's kind of like come to a halt. And I'm like, how are we going to do this? Like, how are we going to get through it? Yeah. And I think that's the thing, like so many things in life, you just do, you can have your bad day, but then you got to get up and be like, you know what, I got this. What can I do to fix this? And the good thing is, there is research, like resources out there. If you Google things that can, help you navigate the questions you may have. But I think as far as any advice that I can give people is don't be afraid to ask for help. I know sometimes it feels embarrassing asking for a donation and no one wants to feel like they're helpless, but reach out. There are people that will care about you. There's strangers that will care about you. No one is alone in this world. They might feel like they're alone, but they'll be surprised how many people will stand by their side if they just reach out for help. And it's okay sometimes to not be okay. No one is perfect, and just keep pushing and know that there are people that care about you. It may not be family, but strangers will be surprised. Sometimes it's not family, but it's complete strangers that will have your back when times get hard.
People surprise me. They surprise me all the time. I'm used to thinking the worst of people, and I think it's a defense mechanism. My wife always social works me because I'm an orphan, so she'll start using me as one of the cases. I'm like, listen, here, woman, you need to back off now for a second. But she's right, people surprise me just out of the blue. I'm not related at all, really. I've got some car issues currently. My truck broke down, and it's going to be very expensive to fix. I've got people coming out of nowhere. Hey, do you want to make a loan to help pay for this? I've got an old car. Do you want to use it? Those sorts of things. I'm like, wow. I'm totally blown away. I'm totally surprised, and I can see good support. I can see your husband loves you to bits. Maybe he's just scared of the uniform. I'm not sure. I mean, I would definitely do as she says, mate.
Put it away somewhere.
Yeah.
I think he's because I'm South African.
Because
he's South African. He knows we're tough. We're tough cookies.
No, we have our story as well, the way we met and everything. So it's we both travel so much in life to be able to be with someone that really cares for you. So once you find that person, then you do anything for that person to always be there for them.
Wow.
And I don't have any family in America. I came here when I was 21 years old as a living nanny, no family, and he's.
I'm blessed to have family. A lot of family in Chicago, California, Guatemala, New Orleans. So I have family.
So, now his family is your family. I mean, that's one of the reasons we started to share was to make it. Apologies, I missed that bit.
Oh, no, he's Hispanic, so they have a lot of family.
Yes, you just need to watch one of the Fast and Furious movies, then you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So
boys.
Two boys.
Yes, I do.
Oh, wonderful.
Men. Yeah, he's 29, 28, and 24.
Wonderful. So you're already quite a big family, but thank you for taking so good care of one of our own. And yes, there's a saying, I'm afraid of nothing because I've married a South African woman. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. And I'll be in touch. I'm going to be making some work on this video today and get it out. By the time that you wake up, it'll be out there and I'll push it as far as wide as I can. Please send me through on the WhatsApp channel between us any links that I can add to the video where people can go and support you guys, and maybe even a way of contacting you if they want to support in their own way.
Of course, and also if there's people that are trying to adopt and they have questions, I'm happy for them to call me and I can help them try to find the resources to get started wherever they are.
That's great news. Thank you so much for that. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Don't forget, there's a hurricane on its way, and I hope you guys come out fine on the other end.
We will.
We will. Thank you.
Have a good one.
God bless.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.